It was a year for the ages for the Maret football team as the Frogs went unbeaten and claimed their first ever MAC and DCSAA titles. On an episode of my weekly show, The Final Drive, I had a chance to catch up with Maret head coach Mike Engelberg, and I asked him about his team's unprecedented undefeated season.
I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, really, you have to understand kind of the whole picture of just Maret football in general to see how just amazing of an accomplishment it was for us. You know, we're a small school. We have 140 boys in our entire high school, fielding a boys soccer team and a cross-country team and a JV boys soccer team. You know, so, you know, it's a small school with limited resources in terms of numbers. So for us to kind of put it all together and go undefeated is just absolutely just euphoric. I mean, it's the top of the world for us. You know, it's never anything that we set out to do. It wasn't a goal. You know, we're very much into, and I'm sure every coach will say this, but we live it. You know, you take it 1 week at a time and put together the best effort you can that week, and then great, move on to the next week. And, you know, that's a byproduct of kind of 4 years ago. We had 17 guys on our team total in our high school program. And, you know, we really learned let's just go week to week and get to next week's game. All right, we did it. Now we'll play the next game. And that's when these guys, our seniors, were freshmen, and it's just carried on year after year, that approach of, hey, let's play the best we can this week, because that's all we really can control is this week. And then that's our mentality. And this year, you added them all up at the end of the year, and man, it was 12-0. We'll take it.
Pretty impressive story, and I want to kind of go in that vein for a second. As I was doing some research on you guys, I found that you kind of helped institute a little bit of a flag program in your middle school to bulk your numbers up a little bit. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I mean, it was with this year's Maret is a kindergarten through 12 school, 650 kids or so, K through 12, and it's co-ed. So, you know, you got half boys, half girls. So we were finding, or at least I was finding, that my numbers were going down year after year, and that kind of corresponded with just the negative press football was getting. I mean, football as a whole was just getting hammered week after week in the New York Times and in just everywhere you looked. I mean, there was something else negative about football coming out. So I went to Liz Hall, who was our athletic director, and said, I know this is crazy, but what about trying to do flag football in 7th grade and 8th grade for, you know, 80% of the middle school season? And let's see if we can get these numbers up, you know, and really get away from worrying about playing games in middle school and teach the fundamentals of football and how to tackle and fundamentals of how to play and how to really learn your position. And so we did it, and that was, like I said, that was when this year's freshmen were 7th graders, and we had our highest middle school numbers in years. And then what we did was kind of 3 weeks before the season ended, so 3 months into it, we said, all right, anybody interested in putting the pads on and taking everything we've learned and doing it with pads, come out on Wednesday. And we had about 20 kids come out, which was awesome. So those guys came out. We just did the same drills we've been doing all year, but with pads on. And then we ended it with one scrimmage against another school, and that was it. And then the next year, that 7th grade class came back with like 19 of them, and they were just as excited about it. And we kind of went with a half year of flag and then a half year of tackle, you know, half season. And it stayed. And then this year I've got 14 freshmen, and 12 of them are kids that have been in Maret through middle school and stuck through it. So I really think it helped us twofold. One, it helped us because our kids are just fundamentally really strong. We got away from teaching the physicality of football and more into the actual technique. And, you know, I mean, I'm not claiming to be some rocket scientist or something, but you know, we had 0 concussions this year in our high school program, literally 0. And you know, I think a lot of that goes back to we got away from the physicality of practice and focused on the technique. Like, we never go full pads in practice. We didn't go full pads one time the entire season in practice. And we don't hit live. We don't bring guys to the ground. We really focus on the technique and the fundamentals.
That's a pretty cool story, Coach, especially when you talk about the future of football, you guys getting some good results like that. And I guess this kind of plays into it as well. You know, talking to some other coaches, had a chance to talk to Coach Simon from Sidwell last year after their run to the championship. And he kind of talked about the differences coaching in a place like Sidwell Friends. I'm sure a lot of those things are kind of in your vein when you coach over at Maret. How tough is it to coach at a place like Maret where those academics are high and the numbers can be low?
You know, I think it's not tough. I mean, it's a challenge in its own way in that there's very few kids out there that can handle that. And it's very hard to get into the school because of that. So, you know, you got to be able to do the work, period. It's not like being at a big WCAC school where you're a good football player, you go to that school. Like in Maret, you can be the best football player in the world. If you can't do the academic work, you're not going to get into the school. And because you can do the academic work, you still have to be a well-rounded kid. You have to, you know, bring a lot to the table, not just be a football player. And so once you get in whoever it is that gets into school, then you're left with something that's pretty awesome, which is a kid that's really smart, really intelligent, and capable of handling very complex offense and defensive stuff and retaining information and processing information very quick. You know, so that's a huge benefit of it, whereas the downside would be your depth. I mean, whereas, you know, a lot of schools have 20 linemen and, you know, we have 8 kids that play offensive line. That's it. You know, I mean, like, and then those same guys play defensive line. So, and you got freshmen playing varsity who, you know, they spend some time in some JV games, but they dress out for varsity, and they're the scout team players for the varsity practice. And so that's the part that's interesting. I've always said, I mean, I think it'd be really easy to go from a school like Sidwell or Maret and coach at a big school with 100 kids, whereas a coach at a school with 100 kids may not even know where to begin at a team with 20 kids. You know, so like you got to kind of really learn to do what you can. And what I always tell people is, look, my whole thing is I never focus on what we don't have and what others do have. I focus on what we do have and figure out how to make it work. And that's my whole approach on it. And that's what I tell the kids. That's what my assistant coaches believe. Like, you know what? So what? We don't have a home field. We play at Wilson. You don't need a home field. Some days we get 20 yards of practice on behind the soccer goal while a JV soccer game's going on. All right, well, let's do the best we can with those 20 yards. And, you know, we don't have lines or goalposts or any of that stuff on our practice field. But who cares? You just figure it out and deal with it and go with it. And just that's our job.
Let's get to that championship game in the DCSA. You win the state title. Obviously, you had a blowout against Kip the week before. You play a Roosevelt team. They were kind of new to the experience as well. Kobe Davis runs the opening kickoff back. If there were any nerves for your guys, did that play kind of eliminate them for you?
Yeah, oh, man. I mean, that you could not have asked for a better way to start that game up because it was a huge crowd. I mean, Wilson was packed, and you know, it definitely felt a little different than all the other games before that game, and you know, just had a different buzz about it. And you know, we're all kind of like, all right, here we go, let's get this going. And we knew all week if we did what we did well, and we really went out there and played the way we had every week, we were going to be fine. But it's easy to know that, but then you go out there and nerves can do crazy things to people, you know, and the guy kicked the ball, it landed on the floor. I mean, he kicked it 96 yards in the air. I'm like, all right, here we go. And next thing you know, Kobe's running all over the field, and then he's walking untouched into the end zone, and it was the biggest relief ever because it was like, all right, this is just going to be like all the other games. And then we got a 2-point conversion right off there. We're up 8-0. We kick off to them. You know, they go backwards, and next thing you know, it's 4th and 12. They punt it to us, and 2 plays later, Garrison's running untouched into the end zone from 40-something yards out, and it's 15-0, and there's 11 minutes left. And I turn to my assistants, and I'm like, we're going to be fine. This is just like all the other games, and it really was. I mean, it just picked up from there. I think we got up 39-0 in the first half, and it literally just added up quick.
Yeah, huge game. You mentioned Garrison Burnett, your quarterback, and obviously, such an important part of your team this year. What did he bring to that squad?
He's just so calm and poised. I mean, he really is. He's truly a kid that does not get rattled. He can score a 95-yard touchdown run, and he's literally going to hand the ball to the referee and come to the sideline and maybe give somebody a high five on the way off the field, maybe not. And your team feeds off that. I mean, if your big play home run hitter acts like it should have happened every time he hits a home run, and the team feeds off of that. They get it. They realize it. I mean, he never got too high, never got too low, just poised. But man, I mean, he rushed for over 2,200 yards. It's his second year in a row rushing for over 2,000 yards. 27 rushing touchdowns and 19 passing touchdowns. He caught a couple touchdowns, and he just, and he did all that while playing every single snap on defense as a cornerback. So I mean, he is special. He really is. I mean, he's going to have a bright future wherever he decides to go to college. He's going to have a heck of a career.
That was Maret head coach Mike Engelberg. Hear interviews like that one every week during the football season on my show, The Final Drive, which can be found right here on DMVSTREAM.COM.